Joining me now, Joe DiGenova, former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, former independent counsel appointed by the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, former special counsel for the House of Representatives, founding partner of the DiGenova and Toensing law firm. Great to have you with us, Joe. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Lou.
Let's start first with this rumor. Well, it's a report by Politico that the president had already been subpoenaed and that they were preparing a response. I mean, this is wild stuff.
Well, I called the White House counsel today and spoke with Jay Sekulow, who told me categorically that the Politico piece by a former Biden staffer was utterly false. There has been no subpoena issued to the president. There is no litigation, which this former Biden person claimed there was. This is an outrageous piece of political hackery that Politico should be embarrassed by publishing. This guy runs, believe it or not, runs McClarty and Associates, which is a big lobbying firm. Now, what this guy is doing writing about a constitutional issue involving the President of the United States is unclear to me, except for one reason: to create a false story just a few days in front of the midterm elections. What a disgraceful performance by both McClarty Associates and Politico.
Well, Politico, they're not exactly what you would call a moderate organization when it comes to their news philosophy. Joe, it's great to have you with us, and thanks for clearing the record up on that. The president and his legal team also, it is said, have been working on written answers to questions from Special Counsel Mueller. Any truth to that?
My understanding is they have been thinking about some written answers to some questions. There's been no decision made about whether or not to answer them. Mr. Mueller is on very shaky ground. He's not asking any questions about anything that involved the president while he was president of the United States. All of the questions are relating to when Donald Trump was a private citizen and a candidate regarding the Russia collusion nonsense.
Yeah, well, you answered the question I was going to ask. What sense does any of that make on the part of the special counsel? This has become...
None.
He's trivialized just about everything associated with the maximum charter that he was given by Rod Rosenstein.
Well, this is an embarrassment to the legal profession, the Department of Justice, but make no mistake about it. Rod Rosenstein created this monster purposely out of pique. We already know that he was engaged in discussions with some corrupt FBI officials to record the President of the United States, and the President is keeping him around for one reason. He's got to get this Mueller thing over with, and when that's done, there'll be no Jeff Sessions and no Rod Rosenstein, and that'll be the best thing that's happened to this country in 2 years.
Yeah, it's stunning. The FISA abuses, I have to say that when Congressman Mark Meadows came up with this request of the FISA court to investigate whether or not the FBI was abusing the process, here we are 2 years into this administration, 2 years into the FBI, and 2 years plus with the FBI and the special counsel investigating Russia collusion. This is the first time I'd ever heard the suggestion that the FISA court could investigate it themselves and set the record straight.
Well, they can, and in fact, the chief judge of that court wrote an opinion just ripping the FBI and the Department of Justice to shreds in April of 2017, when she said there had been a consistent lying by the FBI and the Department of Justice under Barack Obama to the court. What's really sad is that Rod Rosenstein and Jeff Sessions, who had a chance to fix this, have done absolutely nothing about it except obstruct Congress, which is one of the saddest stories and parts of the history of this presidency. They've stolen 2 years from this president by virtue of their incompetence and their political corruption. And again, I say with great regret that Jeff Sessions has been an abysmal failure, and Rod Rosenstein is the most politically corrupt deputy attorney general in the history of this country, and he needs to go.
And just on birthright citizenship, some counsel to the president. his idea of an executive order to lay a foundation, as I would understand it, for a challenge to the practice of granting birthright citizenship. Your
Lou,
thoughts on it?
This is a brilliant move by the president and his legal advisors. What the president is doing here is setting up a case or controversy under the Constitution, which can then be litigated. He's setting up a test case. And what he wants to do is he's going to interpret the 14th Amendment with an executive order, and he's going to interpret the 14th Amendment to prohibit birthright citizenship for the children born in the United States of illegal aliens. The Supreme Court has never ruled on that. So what he's going to do is they're going to deny a child citizenship who's born here of an illegal alien. That will set the stage for a court challenge rather than wait 10 or 15 years for, quote, the right case to come along. This is a brilliant legal maneuver by the president. And some of the people, legal experts, so-called, who have been commenting on this are really manifesting an ignorance of how you set up a constitutional case that's simply staggering. I mean, I've heard a bunch of them on Fox, and I'm amazed just how really ignorant they are of the process.
Well, they must have been, I can't even explain why they would have been on Fox, but I'm sitting here trying to think who those people might have been, and then I decided to disengage from the enterprise. I guess you saw far more on other networks. Is that correct, Joe?
Oh,
I'm trying to lead the witness in case you're wondering.
They are everywhere. They are everywhere, Lou. They're everywhere.
We feel better about that, all of us here at Fox. Joe, great to see you. Thanks so much.